150 kilometers on foot alone through territory where travelers sometimes disappeared. She was maybe 6 weeks pregnant. She had no proof it had happened the way she said. She had no money, no escort, no weapon, no map. All she had was a name. One name spoken by an angel who had already left. Elizabeth. She packed everything she owned into a bundle the size of a loaf of bread. She filled a leather water skin, and she started walking south. But here's the part nobody talks about. She didn't know if Elizabeth would believe her. Gabriel mentioned Elizabeth's name. Gabriel said Elizabeth was pregnant too, but Gabriel never said Elizabeth will welcome you. He never said Elizabeth will understand. Mary was walking 150 kilometers on a guess. And what was waiting at the end of that road will change everything you think you know about this story. But we'll get there. First, the road itself. 2 options, both terrible. The short route cuts straight through Samaria, 130 kilometers, 4 days if you push hard. Problem Samaritans and Jews had been attacking each other on this road for centuries. The historian Josephus recorded at least one massacre of Jewish pilgrims on this exact route during Mary's lifetime. The long route swings east, drops into the Jordan Valley, runs south along the river, then climbs west into the Judean hills. 150 to 160 kilometers, sister. 5 days, maybe 6, no Samaritans. But the Jordan Valley sits 200 meters below sea level. And summer temperatures hit 45 degrees Celsius. The air doesn't move, the shade doesn't exist. Pick your danger, hostile humans or hostile landscape. We don't know which route Mary took, Luke doesn't say. But whichever she chose, she was walking into risk, and she was doing it in the first trimester of a pregnancy when her body was already turning against her in ways she was only beginning to understand. And she was doing it because staying in Nazareth was worse. Here's what 150 kilometers actually does to a human body. Day 1, manageable. Your muscles know how to walk. Your feet no stone. You cover 25, maybe 30 kilometers before the sun gets bad. Day 2, the blisters start. The water skin is lighter than yesterday, and the next spring is a question mark, not a guarantee. Day 3, the nausea hits. Morning sickness. 6 weeks into a pregnancy, on a road with no bathroom, no clean water, no shade. She vomits and loses water and nutrients her body can't replace until the next spring, which might be 3 hours away. She straightens up, she keeps walking, because the alternative is standing still on a road that goes nowhere. But there's a detail here that changes everything about how we understand this journey, and it has nothing to do with Mary's body. A woman alone on a first-century road was a target. Bandits were real. The parable of the Good Samaritan in Luke 10 is built on the assumption that the audience would find it completely normal for a traveler to be beaten and robbed on the Jerusalem road. So Mary almost certainly joined a group, probably a pilgrimage caravan heading toward Jerusalem for one of the festivals. Safety in numbers. But think about what that means. She's walking for 5 days with strangers, eating with them, sleeping near them at night, making small talk at water stops, answering the questions that travelers ask each other. Where are you from? Where are you going? Why are you traveling? I'm visiting a relative, true, technically true, but underneath that answer, underneath the polite mask she's been wearing since the angel left, she's carrying a secret that would destroy her reputation if any of these strangers knew. For 5 days, she performs normalcy. For 5 nights, she lies on hard ground, surrounded by sleeping strangers staring at the stars, running the same questions. Will Elizabeth believe me?
Thank you.
What if she doesn't? What do I do
I
then?
have come a long
The loneliest
way.
journey in history
Let
wasn't
me in.
lonely because she was alone. It was lonely because she was surrounded by
have to
people she
know.
couldn't tell. On the last day, the landscape
it's not
transforms. If Mary came from the Jordan
It has
Valley,
to
she
be.
climbed nearly a kilometer in elevation from 200 meters below sea level to 700 meters above. The air cooled. The vegetation turned green. Stone-walled terraces appeared on the hillsides planted with grapes and olives. And then from the top of a hill, she saw it.
Shalom.
A village, probably Ein Karam, a small settlement about 8
Blessed are
kilometers
you
west
among
of
women,
Jerusalem.
and blessed is the
The
child
traditional
you will
site
bear.
where Elizabeth and
Why am I
Zechariah
so
lived.
favored
5 days of
that the mother
walking,
of my Lord should
150
come to me?
kilometers, blistered feet and rationed water, and 5 nights on hard ground, and a
is
secret she
you.
couldn't share with
It is
anyone.
you,
And now down the hill,
my
a door.
Lord. Blessed
Behind that door,
are
maybe
you
the only
among
person on
women,
earth who wouldn't call her a liar.
and blessed is the
Maybe.
child
She
you
still
will
didn't
bear.
know. She stands at the door. This is the moment the
Blessed
whole
art
journey
thou
comes
among
down to.
women,
5
and
days on the
blessed is
road,
the fruit of thy womb.
150
And whence is this
kilometers,
to me,
the
that the
nausea
mother
and the
of my Lord
blisters and the
should come to
strangers
me?
and the sleepless
Blessed are
nights,
you
and the
among
question that
women.
wouldn't stop looping, will she believe me?
And blessed is the
Mary
fruit
raises
of your
one
womb.
calloused hand. She pushes the curtain aside. She steps through, and she says one word,
Blessed are you
shalom,
among
the standard
women.
greeting, the word everyone says, peace. And then Luke records what happens next with a specificity that still
welcome
stops
here.
scholars cold 2,000 years later. Luke 1:41 to 44.
Oh,
When Elizabeth heard Mary's greeting, the
Blessed
child
among
leaped in
women
her
are
womb.
you, and blessed is the
Not
fruit of
kicked.
your womb.
Luke uses
And
a
why is this
specific
granted
word,
to me, that the
eskertizon,
mother of my Lord
means to
should come
leap,
to
to
me?
jump for joy.
Blessed art thou among
Same
women,
word used
and
in the
blessed
Greek
is
Old
the fruit of
Testament
thy
when David
womb.
danced before the
And
Ark of the
whence is this
Covenant.
to me,
This isn't a
that the
normal
mother of
fetal
my Lord
movement.
should
This
come
is
to
something
me?
Elizabeth has never felt before. And Elizabeth was filled with the
Mary,
Holy Spirit and
come here,
exclaimed with a loud
child. You are
cry.
safe.
The Greek word
You
for her
know-
cry in
you
Phoenician
know the
means she
truth.
didn't speak. She shouted. In a culture where women's voices were expected to be measured, contained appropriate. Elizabeth screamed, "Blessed are you among women,
Yes.
and blessed is the fruit of your womb. And
My
why has this
soul
happened to
proclaims
me
the
that the mother
greatness
of my
the
Lord
Lord.
comes to me?"
My
Stop.
spirit
Read
rejoices
that
in
again.
God,
Mary
my
hasn't said
Savior.
anything. She said shalom, one word. The word you say to your neighbor at the well, the word you say to a stranger on the road. And Elizabeth already knows everything. She doesn't ask, "Are you pregnant?" She doesn't ask, "Who is the father?" She doesn't ask, "What happened to you?" She doesn't ask a single question. She declares.
My soul
Here's what most people
magnifies
miss
the
about this
Lord,
story. The
and my
Annunciation, Gabriel's
spirit
visit, was
rejoices in
miraculous.
God,
It was
my
extraordinary.
Savior.
It was a messenger from God appearing in a stone room and announcing the impossible. But Gabriel left. He delivered the message and disappeared. He didn't stay to help. He didn't come back to check on her.
You are here.
He didn't appear to Anna or to Joseph or to anyone else who could confirm what Mary was saying. For weeks,
I
maybe a
have
month,
come.
Mary carried this alone, an experience that no one witnessed, a story that no one believed, a pregnancy that would look to every single person in her village like exactly what it wasn't. And then she walks through a door in the Judean hills, and an old woman she hasn't seen in years takes one look at her 1 second and says, "I know
God
who you
bless
are.
this
I know what you're
water."
carrying. You are blessed."
Mary,
Gabriel gave
hurry.
Mary a message. Elizabeth gave her something bigger.
Coming.
She gave her a
Thank
witness.
you.
Mary stands in Elizabeth's house, believed, held, no longer alone, and she opens her mouth. What comes out is not a thank you, not a prayer, not a sob. It's a song that governments will ban, a song that armies will try to silence, a song that mothers in Argentina will paste on protest signs in front of tanks, the longest recorded speech by any woman in the entire New Testament. But that's the next video. For now, here's what matters. A woman walked 150 kilometers because an angel gave her a name. She walked on blistered feet through hostile territory with a secret she couldn't share and a future she couldn't see. And at the end of the road, behind a curtain in a stone doorway, she found the only thing she needed. Not an answer, not a plan, not a guarantee. Just one person, one voice, saying, "I believe you." That was enough. It was enough to make her sing.
5 days for this.